memory is relative and fickle and changeable. And I forgot her name, but she's a psychologist, and her expertise is the fickleness of memory. So she's always called in as an expert witness in a court trial and all that, you see, and is now in a bigger context is this. This is the real big one, because these things, get into philosophy and spirituality and endless rhetoric, and libraries are filled with this. But what could we say for sure? We could say for sure that there's two types of truth. There's relative truth and absolute truth. Relative truth is like what Daniel mentioned there, that memory is not absolutely 100% like a photograph. No, it's relative. And as we age, as we change belief systems, as we get suggestions, as even our microbiome changes, it could affect our memory, see, in many different ways. Okay, so that would be an example of relative truth. Another example of relative truth is that, is on a relative, materialistic world, who's more powerful, Donald Trump or Chuck Schumer? I'm being a little facetious, but of course, see, it's relative. You see, size, smartness, see, the world is relative. Now, relative truth, there's nothing wrong for that, you see, and a cousin to relative truth is sort of dualism. So we were wired, hardware and software, for dualism, relative truth, because that's survival. Could you give me an example of that? Yes. If two animals are coming at me, and one is a lion, and the other is a puppy dog, I better be able to differentiate, that's dualism, the lion from the puppy dog, you see. So on this relative sense of being, this relative plane of existence, which is the material world, the parameters are materialism, dualism, it's all relative, this and that, and that's how computers were based, on 1 and 0. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't think that that's bad. But then all spiritual paths of the world are looking not for the relative, because relative is changeable. Relative is a human artifice and conceit. You see, yeah, Trump is more powerful than Schumer today, but tomorrow Schumer might be more powerful than Trump. You see, it's all relative. It's constant flux. It's constant changing. So that is not where we would want to put our heart, because that changes. So all spiritual paths looking for something immutable, something timeless, something that never, ever, ever changes. So that is absolute truth. Oh, wow. Now, it sounds kind of academic, absolute truth is tough, because we can't see it. We can't taste it. None of our senses work with absolute truth. You see, our senses are all relative truth. But all spiritual paths look for that thing which is never changing, because that's the Rock of Gibraltar. You see. Now, how does that apply to everyday life? It applies to everyday life because when we're in touch with that absolute truth, my own favorite metaphor is kind of like Mother Nature, okay? That's the source. And by staying as much as possible connected, 24/7 to the thing which never changes, which is Mother Nature and so forth, okay, then we come to the realization, a deeper realization that, wait a second, Mother Nature and us are really one and the same. Ooh, wow. And that's just one version of what they talk about oneness and so forth.